All my life, all my life was spent in the observation of religious vows, in the fond of being blessed with sons. With a superstitious persistence have I circumambulated the people, ficus religioso, and worshipped it with due ceremony. Sri Guru retorted, "What you say is falsehood. Once Lord Brahma said to sage Narada, Divine sage, Lord Shiva and I ever reside in the peepal tree. All the deities inhabit its branches. The oceans exist in the twigs. All the sacred rivers dwell in the branches. Sacred cows, religious sacrifices, yagnas, the great sages, and even the Vedas dwell in its tender leaves. The peepal tree, which is so holy, should be duly consecrated and worshipped. One should not touch it during the night, at twilight hours, and during the time of rain. One should observe such vows as of continence and silence with all of one's mind, word, deed, and then worship the sacred tree. You must besmir the lower part of its trunk with cow dung and chant the Swasti mantra. Then you should bathe it and worship it according to your means. You should contemplate Lord Vishnu with his 8 divine arms. You should wrap a clean cloth or a thread around the trunk. Then, either while repeating the divine name or chanting a mantra, you should circumambulate it with a slow and steady pace. Both at the commencement and the completion of each circumambulation, you should bow to it with a concentrated mind. If you do so, poverty, delirium, danger, sin, and other kinds of sufferings will be terminated. Every step that is taken around the tree with full faith will be as efficacious as the performance of Ashwamedha sacrifice. If you chant the mantra of Saturn, the tormentations by spirits will be ended. If the Rudra mantra is recited, fear of death will be averted. The fruit of feeding pious and learned Brahmins thereafter, bathing, japa, and performance of religious sacrifice underneath it is indeed unbounded. Wishes for son and grandchildren will be granted. He who plants a peepal tree will be elevating his entire lineage to heaven. As many pious Brahmins as 1/10 of the number of circumambulations should be fed, and a golden image of peepal tree, cow, and gingerly till seeds should be given away as dana. If you do these, your wish will be fulfilled. Therefore, take a dip in the Sangama and worship the tree there accordingly. You will be blessed with 2 sons. Ganga said, Sir, now I am 60 years old, yet I shall upon your word do so with faith. And then she commenced her daily circumambulations. On the fourth day at night, Sri Guru appeared in her dream and said, after worshipping the tree, Eat the fruit which Sri Guru gives you, and you shall be blessed with offspring. She at once woke up and informed her husband of her dream and continued her avowed adoration with greater zeal. One day the master gave her 2 fruits and said, after completing your vow, give away proper gifts and then eat these fruits. In the earlier ages, yugas, there were different kinds of children. In this age of Kali, only those born of one's womb and those who are adopted and are considered as one's sons. It is said that even at the very sight of one's begotten son, the parents are assured of heaven hereafter. You shall be blessed with 2 sons. This will be the fruit of serving me with faith. Ganga went home and did as Sri Guru directed her. After a few days, she had her first menses ever, and after her purificatory bath, on the 4th day, she went for the Guru's darshan along with her husband. After returning home that night, she conceived. All the people in the village were astonished and praised her good fortune. Her husband, Somnath, got the appropriate religious ceremonies, Pumsavana, etc. performed. At the proper time, she delivered a girl child. Astrologers predicted that the girl would come to be a Pativrata, who through her Pativratya shall elevate all of her kinsfolk in holiness. When the child was 12 days old, the elderly parents took her for darshan of Sri Guru, placed her at his feet, prostrated to him, and said, "The family tree that has been barren has borne fruit by your blessings. If the fruit proves to be good, all the passerbys along life's paths would be benefited. Indeed, barrenness is better than having wicked offsprings." Sri Guru caressed the tender child and said, "What the astrologers have foretold of her will come true. This time do not wish to have a dullard. Do you wish to have a dullard of a son who will live 100 years, or a son who will be bright, learned one, but who will have a shorter span of life?" That old couple submitted that they wish to be blessed with a son who will be learned and pious, and though of a shorter life. Sri Guru blessed them accordingly and sent them away. In course of time she had 2 sons. In this way the barren lady Ganga became a mother by serving the master with unwavering faith. With the passage of time, her children grew up to be wealthy ones, and they too, in their turn, had several children, and after their death, attained the heavenly realms. Their daughter, too, as per the blessing of the great master, grew up to be an ideal housewife, reached higher states of being along with her husband. But such good fortune accrues only to those endowed with zeal and faith. Those devoid of these qualities, just as the born blind cannot see the sun, fail to win divine grace. The happy couple renounced worldly ties, donned or ochre robes, and dedicated the rest of their lives to the service of the Master. Thereby they attained liberation. So too a man named Narahari Sharma was afflicted with leprosy. He surrendered himself to Sri Guru and submitted, "O Lord Hari, thou, the very being of bliss ultimate, you love your devotees as your own children. I have heard of your fame and come to you for succor. The learned Brahmin considers it a sin even to look at my face. Even the austerities I have practiced in holy places and my prayers have not cured my fell disease. Pray heal my illness by your grace. If you too say you cannot do so, I have no choice other than committing suicide in your holy presence, in the hope that at least in my next life I shall win religious merit." The master's heart was moved, and he said, "Even though disease is a consequence of your wicked deeds in the past life, it will be wiped out. If you have faith in my word, plant the dead branch of a fig tree at the Sangama and go on watering it every day. You will be healed on the day the stump puts forth leaves." Narahari Sharma started doing so as he was directed. All those who beheld the absurd act of Narahari commented, "You are an irreparable sinner, and hence the master has meant his order only as a sort of unending punishment. Else, how can a dead branch put forth leaves again?" Maybe the Swami only implied that your disease, which is consequence of past sins, cannot possibly be eradicated. However, Narahari stuck to the master's orders and persevered in his efforts. When someone reported what he was doing to Sri Guru, he said, "He does it right and he shall be relieved. By virtue of his steadfast faith, there is no other effective means in this world than faith." The mantra, a Brahmin's priest, an astrologer, a physician, and the Guru men derive their benefit from these only according to their faith in them. In this regard, Seth Suta told the sages, "Once upon a time there lived a king named Simhaketu. He had a son named Dunamjaya. One day the latter went to a forest for hunting, and when he was tired by the chase, he rested in an old dilapidated shrine of Lord Shiva. He had a tribal man by name Sabara as his attendant. He fetched a Shivalinga and asked him for instructions in the proper manner of worshipping it. The king said, "In the company of your wife, worship it in a clean place. Besmir your body with the ashes of a funeral pyre, and then distribute prasad." And then he proceeded to explain the details of the ritual worship. Thereafter, Sabara worshipped the Shivalinga accordingly every day. One day he could not secure the ash from a funeral pyre and was much upset at it. His wife addressed him thus, "My lord, this is my physical frame, to consecrate my Lord, this my physical frame is consecrated for the accomplishment of dharma, righteousness. You may burn my body, thus secure the needed ash and offer it to Lord Shiva. Leave your vain infatuation for my body. I shall sacrifice the transient body to achieve the eternal nearness to Lord Shiva. After all, as per the Hindu law, my body is but a half of your own. And she even insisted. Then the man bolted her inside the hutment and set fire to it. Afterwards, he offered the ash of a burnt body to Lord Shiva and then besmirched his own body with it. After the ritual worship at the time of distribution of prasad by the force of daily habit, he called her name too. The wonder of it, she came forth as usual and received the prasad, and his heart was in front of him as before. In amazement, he questioned her about it, and she replied, I just feel as if I woke from deep slumber. I know nothing else. Then both of them realized the power of Lord Shiva, glorified him heartily. The Lord appeared in front of them and blessed them with joy. Such is the power of bhakti. So saying, Sri Guru sent the people away. Then on his way to the Sangama for his bath, he threw the water in his water vessel Kamandalu on the dead branch of the fig tree which was tended by Narharis. Lo, it at once put forth tender leaves, and as instantly did Narhari's leprosy vanish. The latter was amazed and overwhelmed by intense faith and devotion. He glorified Sri Guru thus, Lord, your splendor is like that of a million suns, yet thy grace is as cool and pleasant as that of a million moons. You are worshipful even for gods, and you are the repository of the whole universe. I shall ever meditate on you, who are the bestower of all wishes. You are like the sun to the darkness of cosmic illusion and ignorance. I bow to thee. You are free from any qualities, yet you are with them. Worthy of being served by your devotees, you are the bestower of boons. I bow to thee. You are like a lion, the destroyer, to the six internal enemies like lust, which are like full grown bull elephants. You are the very embodiment of bliss absolute. I shall meditate on you who has manifested yourself to protect righteousness. Thou, bestower of wishes and the cause of all existence, I shall ever worship thee. Thou, lotus-eyed one, the bearer of the staff, Danda and Kamandalu, the merciful one, I seek refuge in you. You are the object of knowledge of Vedanta. You have the sun, moon, fire as your three eyes. You are of the nature Nada, Bindu, and Kala, the dispeller of the fire of craving. I bow to thee. You are the destroyer of misery, fear, and suffering, and bestower of yoga. Thou, inhabitant of the bank of the rivers Krishna and the five Ganges, I shall serve you. Thou, without a beginning, a middle, or an end, thou of inscrutable power, the absolute self, thou whom neither the mind can comprehend nor the speech delineate, I surrender myself to thee. The four-faced Brahma himself is unable to sing thy glory. How can I ever hope to do so? The thousand-headed Adishesha himself was dumbfounded at the sight of thy glory. Even the Vedas have failed to describe your divinity. Sri Guru was pleased with his intense devotion and said, Son, by my grace you shall gain spiritual power, wealth, fame, noble offsprings. You shall become the owner of yogic wisdom. Like you, your descendants also shall be devoted to me. You come away long with your wife and stay here. Narhari did accordingly and was blessed with children and grandchildren and all else. He was liberated even while living by the teachings of Sri Guru. Like him, his descendants were devoted to Sri Guru. Namataraka, all of this is the fruit of devotion to the Guru. One of your ancestors are fortunate enough to live to win the blessings of Sri Guru. It is owing to that you are now blessed with such loving faith in him. Even this is by the blessing of the Master. I feel that even among your descendants there shall certainly be born a progressive soul, said Siddha. Digambara, श्रीपादवल्लभ दिगंबरा 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 अवधूत चिंतन दिगंबरा गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।